The scent of expensive lilies and vanilla candles fills my parents' living room. It's suffocating. My sister, Chloe, is center stage, glowing under the recessed lighting as she flashes her 3-carat diamond ring. It's a modest start, she giggles, tucking a strand of blonde hair behind her ear. But Mark and I want the wedding to be iconic. I sit on the edge of the velvet armchair, sipping lukewarm tea. I'm the reliable sister, the one who stayed local, worked the double shifts at the clinic, and kept my head down. My bank account is my only pride, a neat, hard-earned $45,000 saved for a down payment on my first condo. Maya, aren't you excited? My mother asks, her eyes fixed on Chloe. Your only sister is finally becoming a Mrs. Sterling. The Sterlings are a very old money family, you know. I nod, forcing a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. I felt invisible, as usual. In this house, I'm the background noise to Chloe's symphony. I'm happy for you, Chloe, I say quietly. We're thinking of a destination wedding in Lake Como. Chloe says, her eyes glittering with a strange, frantic energy. The guest list is already at 300. Mark's parents expect a certain level of prestige. I look at Mark, her fiancé. He's handsome in a hollow way, nodding along like a programmed robot. Something about his smile doesn't hit his eyes. He looks like a man who is drowning in silk. That sounds expensive, I remark. The room goes cold. My father frowns. Maya, don't be gauche. We only have one eldest daughter. We'll find a way to make it happen. I don't say anything else. I've learned that when Chloe wants something, the world bends until it snaps. I didn't realize that this time I was the one who was going to break. That was the moment everything changed. I saw Chloe glance at my purse on the side table, the one containing my ledger and my banking tokens. It was a fleeting look, hungry and sharp. I dismissed it as my own paranoia. After all, she's my sister. We shared a room for 18 years. I trusted her. 3 weeks later, the wedding of the century, preparations are in full swing. Chloe is a whirlwind of silk swatches and catering menus. She calls me 5 times a day, crying about flour shortages and the cost of vintage champagne. I just need everything to be perfect. Maya, she sobs over the phone. If I don't look the part, Mark's family will see right through me. They think we're in their league. Chloe, you shouldn't be pretending, I tell her, rubbing my temples. If they love you, the price of the centerpieces shouldn't matter. She hangs up on me. She doesn't want advice. She wants an audience. The next morning, I wake up early. I've finally found the condo I want, a quiet place with big windows and a small balcony. I open my banking app to check the balance for the earnest money deposit. The screen loads. My heart skips a beat. Balance, $14.32. I blink. I close the app and open it again. Maybe it's a glitch. Maybe the server is down. $14.32. The room starts to spin. I scroll through the transaction history. A series of massive transfers happened over the last 48 hours. Each one is labeled external transfer. See, Vance. Chloe. My breath hitches in my throat. I feel like I've been punched in the solar plexus. This isn't just money. This is 5 years of missed vacations, 5 years of working holidays, 5 years of my life. I call the bank, my hands shaking so hard I nearly drop the phone. I need to report a series of unauthorized transfers. I voice crackling. One moment, Ms. Vance, the agent says. After a grueling 10 minutes of hold music, she returns. Ma'am, these transfers were authorized using your physical security token and your secondary verification code. They were performed from a recognized device, your tablet. My tablet, the one I let Chloe borrow last week because her laptop broke, and she needed to update the guest list. I feel sick. I lean over the sink, gasping for air. She didn't just steal. She planned this. She sat across from me at dinner, watched me work, and waited for the moment I turned my back to gut my future. I call her. She doesn't answer. I call again. Straight to voicemail. I drive to my parents' house, my vision blurred by hot, stinging tears. I expect them to be horrified. I expect them to help me. Mom, Dad. I burst through the front door. They're in the kitchen, surrounded by bridal magazines. Chloe is there, too, sipping a green juice. She looks up, her face a mask of perfect, innocent confusion. Maya, what's wrong? You look hysterical, Chloe says softly. You took it, I scream, my voice raw. You took my savings. Every cent. Give it back, Chloe. Give it back right now. My mother stands up, her face hardening. Maya, lower your voice. What on earth are you talking about? She emptied my account. I point a finger at Chloe, who begins to tremble. $45,000. She used my tablet to wire it to herself. Chloe bursts into tears, not the ugly, snotty kind, but the delicate, cinematic tears she's practiced since she was 5. I don't know what she's talking about. Chloe wails. I would never. Maya, are you having some kind of breakdown? I know you've been stressed about the condo, but to accuse me of this. My father steps between us. Maya, that's enough. Chloe's been with us all morning. And besides, she wouldn't need your money. Mark's family is handling the wedding. They aren't. I yell. She's lying. Look at her phone. Look at her accounts. I will do no such thing, my father says, his voice cold as ice. I won't have you ruining your sister's special time with your jealousy. You've always been bitter about her success. To make up a lie like this, it's pathetic. I look at their faces. They don't believe me. Or worse, they don't care. They want the wedding more than they want the truth. I'm standing in a room full of people I've loved my whole life, and for the first time, I realize I am completely alone. I spend the next week in a dark room. I can't eat. I can't sleep. The bank tells me that since the security token was used, they cannot reclaim the funds. It's a civil matter. I am broke. I am 2 weeks away from being evicted from my apartment because I can't pay the rent. I try to talk to my parents one last time. I bring bank statements. I bring proof of the transfers. My mother doesn't even look at the papers. She's busy addressing invitations in calligraphy. Maya, we've discussed this, she says without looking up. Chloe said she's willing to forgive you for the accusation if you just drop it. She even said you can still be a bridesmaid. Forgive me? I whisper. She stole my life, Mom. Stop being dramatic. Mom snaps. You're young. You'll save more. But Chloe only gets one wedding like this. Don't be the person who ruins it. I felt invisible. No, I felt erased. My years of sacrifice were nothing more than a footnote to Chloe's vanity. I go to my car and cry until I can't breathe. I think about the double shifts. I think about the nights I ate ramen, so I could put another $100 away. All of it is gone, converted into lace, lobster tails, and a venue in Italy I wasn't even invited to properly. I see a post on Chloe's Instagram, a photo of her at a high-end bridal boutique, holding a glass of champagne. The caption, getting the dress of my dreams. No price is too high for true love. Sparkles #blessed, #bride-to-be. The comments are filled with you deserve it and so royal. I see a comment from a woman named Sarah. So happy for you, Chloe. Glad the deposit went through. We were worried for a second. I click on Sarah's profile. She's a luxury wedding consultant. A cold, hard knot forms in my stomach. The blessed bride didn't use Mark's money. She didn't use my parents' money. She used my blood, sweat, and tears to buy a dress she'll wear for 8 hours. I look at the photo of the dress. It's a custom Vera Wang. Price tag? Roughly $30,000. The rage that follows the sadness is different. It's not hot. It's freezing. It's a quiet, vibrating clarity. They thought I wouldn't fight back. They thought I was the good girl who would just take the hit for the sake of the family's reputation. They thought I would value their illusion more than my own survival. They were wrong. I start digging. If Chloe was desperate enough to steal from her own sister, she was desperate enough to hide other things. I spend the night on my laptop, searching public records, social media tags, and court dockets. I find a forum for high-end wedding vendors. I search for Chloe Vance. I find a thread. Beware of bride, Chloe V. Claims to have sterling money, but card declined 3 times for the florist deposit. Is she legit? Another vendor replies, she's a fraud. She's been financing the whole thing on high-interest personal loans and credit cards. I heard she owes over $100,000 already, and the wedding is still a month away. I lean back, the blue light of the screen reflecting in my eyes. Chloe wasn't just stealing from me. She was building a house of cards on a foundation of lies. She wanted a sterling wedding, but she was a bankrupt thief. The more I dig, the uglier it gets. Chloe hadn't just stolen $45,000 from me. She had also opened a line of credit in our mother's name, claiming it was for wedding emergencies. But the biggest find was Mark. I found a LinkedIn profile for a Mark Sterling. He wasn't old money. He was a mid-level analyst at a firm that had let him go 6 months ago for misrepresenting his credentials. His parents, they weren't wealthy socialites in Lake Como. They lived in a modest suburb in Ohio and hadn't seen their son in 2 years. The Sterlings were a ghost story Chloe and Mark had co-authored to impress our social climbing parents. They were 2 grifters who had found each other, and I was the bankroll for their final act. I sit in my dark apartment, the evidence spread out across my floor. Bank statements showing the $45,000 transfer, screenshots of vendor warnings, credit reports showing the fraud in my mother's name, the email from Mark's real parents, whom I tracked down. They were lovely, confused people who thought their son was working in London. I could go to the police. I probably should. But if I do, Chloe will find a way to spin it. My parents will hire a lawyer to protect their pride and joy, and I'll be tied up in court for years while my money vanishes into legal fees. No, I need something more definitive. I need to strip the mask off in front of the only audience she cares about. I wait. The wedding is in 3 days. It's not in Lake Como. That fell through when the sterling wire transfer never arrived. It's at a local high-end country club. Chloe told everyone they chose a local venue to be closer to family. I receive a text from Chloe. Hey, I know things have been weird, but I really need you to bring the steamer for the dresses on Friday morning. Don't be late. Love you. Love you. The words feel like acid. I respond. I'll be there. I have a surprise for you, too. OMG. A wedding gift. You're the best, sis. I put my phone down. I haven't slept in 48 hours, but I've never felt more awake. I have everything I need. I've spent the last of my meager checking account balance on a professional printing service. I've made a wedding program. It looks beautiful. High-gloss paper, gold foil lettering. But the content isn't the order of service. Page 1, the theft. A line-by-line breakdown of the bank transfers from my account to Chloe's. Page 2, the fraud. Photocopies of the credit card applications in our mother's name. Page 3, the groom. A copy of Mark's termination letter and a photo of his actual family home in Ohio. Page 4, the debt. A list of every vendor Chloe has stiffed, totaling $112,000. I have 200 copies. I spend the night before the wedding sitting on my floor, folding the programs. I feel a strange sense of peace. The sadness is gone. The invisible girl is about to become the loudest person in the room. The morning of the wedding is a chaotic mess of hairspray and champagne. My parents' house is a hive of activity. I arrive with the steamer. Chloe is in the master bedroom, surrounded by her bridesmaids. She looks beautiful, I'll give her that. The $30,000 dress fits her like a second skin. Maya, you're here, she chirps, barely looking at me as a makeup artist applies a shimmering highlight to her cheekbones. Did you bring the gift? It's in the car, I say, my voice steady. I want to wait for the reception to give it to everyone. It's a commemorative piece. So mysterious, she laughs. I walk over to my mother, who is wearing a gown that probably cost 2 months of my rent. Mom, can I talk to you for a second? I ask. Not now, Maya. The photographer is coming. Can't you see we're busy? It's about the credit card in your name, I say quietly. She freezes. She turns to me, her eyes narrowing. What credit card? The one Chloe used to pay for the florist. The one with the $15,000 balance you didn't authorize. Mom's face goes pale, but then she shakes her head. You're still doing this? You're still trying to sabotage her? Even today? Get out, Maya. If you can't be happy for her, just leave. I look at her, really look at her. She knows. Deep down, she knows Chloe is a disaster. But the image of the perfect family is more important than her own daughter's life. Fine, I say. I'll see you at the venue. I spend the afternoon at the country club. I'm not a bridesmaid anymore. I was demoted by a text from Chloe an hour ago for bringing down the vibe. Perfect. It makes my job easier. The ceremony is a blur of lies. The officiant talks about honesty and building a life together. I watch Mark and Chloe exchange vows. They look like the perfect couple. 2 hollow shells promising to fill each other up with stolen things. During the cocktail hour, I go to the reception hall. The staff is busy setting up. I have a special guest, badge I printed myself. The bride wanted these placed at every setting. I tell the head waiter, handing him a stack of my gold-foiled programs. It's a surprise for the groom's family. Of course, he says, impressed by the quality of the paper. They're lovely. I watch as his team places a program on every single gold-rimmed plate. 200 copies. 200 invitations to the truth. I then find the DJ. I hand him a USB drive. Chloe wants this slideshow played right before the toasts. I say with a smile. It's a montage of their journey. You got it, the DJ says, giving me a thumbs up. I walk to the back of the room and take a seat at a small table near the exit. I pour myself a glass of the vintage champagne, the one I paid for with my down payment. It tastes like copper and victory. The guests begin to file in. Mark's business associates, who are actually just friends he met at a bar, my parents' social circle, and the few vendors Chloe managed to pay enough to show up. I see my parents take their seats at the head table. They look so proud. They think they've made it. They think they've successfully traded one daughter for a higher social standing. The lights dim. It's time. The room goes quiet as the spotlight hits the center of the dance floor. Chloe and Mark are standing there, beaming. Before we begin the toasts, the DJ announces, his voice booming through the speakers. The sister of the bride has prepared a special presentation of the couple's journey to the altar. Chloe looks at me from across the room. She looks confused, but she gives a small, condescending wave. She thinks I've finally folded. She thinks this is my apology. The screen lowers. The first slide appears. It's not a childhood photo. It's a high-definition scan of my bank statement, with the $45,000 theft highlighted in neon yellow. The room goes silent. A few people whisper, "What is that?" My father's voice carries through the quiet. The next slide. A screenshot of the text Chloe sent me, laughing about how easy it was to get my banking code. The whispers turn into a low roar. I see Chloe's face go from confusion to absolute bone-white terror. She looks at Mark, but Mark is staring at the screen, his mouth agape. Next slide. Mark's termination letter for fraud. Next slide. A photo of Mark's actual parents in their driveway in Ohio with a caption, "Meet the real Sterlings." They weren't invited. They don't even know he's married. The guest list starts picking up the programs from their plates. The sound of 200 people flipping pages at once is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. Oh my God! A woman at the front table gasps. She stole from her own sister? Look at this, another guest says, holding up the debt list. She owes the florist 12 grand. Is the cake even paid for? Chloe turns to the DJ, screaming, shut it off. Shut it off right now. But I've already paid the DJ an extra $100 to ignore any requests to stop the tribute until the end. The final slide appears. It's a photo of my mother's forged credit card application. My mother stands up, her hand over her mouth. She looks at Chloe, then at the program in her hand. The illusion isn't just cracked, it's shattered into a million pieces. I stand up and walk toward the head table. The crowd parts for me like the Red Sea. I feel powerful. I feel seen. I reach the table. Chloe is shaking, her expensive dress heaving with her panicked breaths. You ruined it, she hisses, her voice vibrating with malice. You ruined my life. No, Chloe, I say, my voice calm and clear enough for the whole room to hear. I just stopped you from ruining mine. You wanted a luxury wedding. Well, everyone here just got a front row seat to the cost. Mark tries to step forward. Maya, this is private family business. You're not a sterling, Mark. I cut him off. And you're definitely not a businessman. You're a footnote. And as for the family business, I turn to my parents. My father looks like he's aged 20 years. My mother is crying, but this time they aren't bridal tears. They're tears of shame. You told me to stop being dramatic, I say to my mother. You told me I was jealous. Is this dramatic enough for you? Or should I show them the part where she's about to be evicted from her apartment because she hasn't paid rent in 4 months? The room is in an uproar. Guests are standing up, some taking photos of the programs, others whispering into their phones. The social event of the season has turned into a crime scene. Chloe lunges at me, her hands clawed, but her heavy train trips her. She falls onto the cake table. The 5-tier, $2,000 cake, which I'm sure wasn't paid for, topples over. It lands on her Vera Wang dress in a slow-motion explosion of white frosting and raspberry filling. She lies there, covered in sugar, and lies wailing like a child. I look at the wreckage. The flowers, the dress, the sterlings, the fake prestige. It's all gone. I reach into my purse and pull out my phone. I've already sent the digital copies of everything to the police and the fraud department of my bank. The police are on their way, Chloe. I say quietly, since it's a civil matter, no more. I turn around and walk toward the exit. I don't look back at my parents. I don't look back at the sister I once loved. As I reach the doors, I hear my father's voice, broken and small. Maya, wait. I don't wait. 6 months later, I'm sitting on my new balcony. It's not a mansion, and it's not in Lake Como. It's a 1-bedroom in a quiet part of town. The light is perfect for my plants. It took 4 months of legal battles, but because of the public confession and the digital trail I recovered, I got my money back. Well, most of it. The bank recovered what was left in Chloe's accounts, and my parents were forced to sell their prestige car to cover the rest to avoid a public trial that would have completely destroyed their reputation. Chloe is currently serving a suspended sentence and working 2 retail jobs to pay back the vendors and the credit card debt. Mark disappeared the night of the wedding. Turns out he had a few other fiancés in other states. My parents try to call. They leave voicemails about healing and moving forward as a family. I delete them. They didn't want a daughter. They wanted a success story. And when I was the victim, I was an inconvenience. I only became family again when they realized I was the only one with any actual integrity. I look at my bank balance. $45,000. It's back, but it feels different now. It's not just a down payment. It's my freedom. I used to think that being the good daughter meant carrying the weight of everyone else's secrets. I thought that loyalty meant silence. I was wrong. I'm no longer invisible. I'm no longer the background noise. I am the architect of my own life, and the foundation is finally solid. I pick up my coffee and watch the sunset. The silence isn't lonely. It's peaceful. I've realized that some bridges are meant to be burned so you can use the light to find your way home. Sometimes losing your family is the price of finding yourself.